This is Will Montgomery, former Washington Redskins center.
Yo, what's good, folks? This is Trey Johnson, the headbanger, yo, and you're listening to Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted. Word.
What's going on, Rally? Happy last week of training camp, man.
Thank goodness for that, because I'm ready to tell you, I'm tired of all the naysayers, and it's time to get down to business and see what this team really is going to be able to do.
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm at the point of I'm kind of tired of listening to sports talk radio after everything that's happened this past week. All the people calling in, complaining, people with all their hypotheticals. Like, the season is almost here, right? I mean, the guys were just in South Beach, had apparently a heck of a practice. I think Jayden was 5 for 6 in touchdowns in the red zone out there. I mean, the guys competed and did well. Granted, we lost the preseason game, and we'll get into that. But I cannot wait for training camp to be done and us to actually start caring about what really matters, which is preparing for the Bucks and seeing what we can actually do. But I guess the worst kept secret that, everyone realized this day was going to come. Dan Q had a press conference and a meeting on Monday morning. Let's just jump right into his announcement.
Apologies for having you come up with new storylines for today, but Jayden Daniels is our starting quarterback.
I mean, there was no doubt in anybody's mind that Jayden was going to be QB1.
Exactly.
I get in the beginning of camp, he was splitting reps. Mariota was taking some of the first team reps right off the bat. But I really feel that Quinn did this on purpose because everyone knew this was Jayden's team. When you take a quarterback that high, you got to be just dumb and blind to not understand that this is Jayden's team once it's actually week one. So whether Mariota wants to admit it or DQ wants to admit it or what, we all knew Jayden was going to take over. I really feel that DQ waited this long so Jayden could prove to everybody that he earned the spot, unlike Caleb Williams, who was just given the spot in Chicago. I mean, what do you think?
I think that it was always his position, but it was his position to lose, depending on how he looked in front of everybody and under the lights. Fast forward, he looked phenomenal, at least the small sample size that we saw. He looked phenomenal. All reports in camp was that he was lights out. So it only makes sense to go ahead and give the kid the keys to the car.
Yeah, I mean, we've only seen him in 3 drives, right? He didn't do a ton during that actual Dolphins game, but he was doing it against a good Dolphins team that wasn't holding back. I mean, I went back, just rewatched the game right before we're recording. For those that are wondering, it is Wednesday, the 21st, when we're recording this. Just because the game was on Saturday, I want to go back and take a look at it. I mean, the Dolphins were coming after him, and Jayden was 10 for 12 for 78 yards. And this is why I mentioned earlier, I kind of stopped listening to some of the sports talk stuff because people are complaining that Jayden's passes have all been short, right? They're complaining he hasn't been opening up and going downfield. Number one, none of you know the plays that Kingsbury has been calling and what they've been wanting him to do, what they've been wanting him to focus on. So for you guys to complain about that, I feel that these people that are doing that are just looking for reasons to, excuse my language, just bitch.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the moment. We actually, right now, I'm not saying he's the savior, right? I've been watching a TV show that's been out for a long time. I never actually caught it. It's All American from the WB. It's on Netflix right now. You ever heard of it?
Oh, I'm at least 3 to 4 seasons in, and then this last season, I just said, okay, enough's enough. They went to college or something like that, and I said, enough's enough. I can't follow it anymore.
Don't spoil it for me because I'm only on season. Oh, no, you're good. You're good. I'm only on season 3. But for those that haven't seen it, there's this one player. His name is Spencer James, and there are several times throughout where they're calling him the Black Jesus and this and that. And I feel that people are comparing Jayden to Robert, and I get it, Heisman Trophy winner, blah, blah, blah. And they're saying this and saying that. Robert was loving the checkdowns and this and that. We have not seen Kingsbury's real offense, and he's
No.
not going to show the offense. So those of you complaining or pointing out that Jayden hasn't thrown a true downfield pass other than that check he made to Diami, like maybe that's actually the game plan. Maybe they don't want to do that. Maybe that's what he's being told to do. So let's stop criticizing until there's actually something to criticize about. It's been preseason and training camp, and let's just enjoy what this kid's shown us so far. Even though it hasn't been a ton, it's still been damn good.
And I have to say that if you like it on TV, you're really going to like it in person. I had the opportunity to skedaddle down to Miami last week and take in the game, and I got a great deal on some front row seats. It was awesome, and I'm here to tell you that TV does, like always for me, TV never tells a true story, but seeing it live does. And I'm here to tell you that it was the peanut butter to the jelly. It really was good, man. And I look forward to seeing everyone's reaction once they see it live at Commander's Field.
I'm jealous you got a chance to be there because, we've got a game this Sunday, and I reached out to my crew. And just like I do every week before we have a home game, all right, who's going to be there? One person's going to show, because it's, for some of them, it's the night before the first day of school for their kids. Some of them are teachers. They've got it. So it sucks. But on top of that, I don't blame them, because I'm not sure if Jayden's going to play next week or this weekend. We'll see how that goes. This is actually what DQ had to say about Jayden potentially playing this Sunday.
Will Jayden play in the final preseason game?
We can probably hit more on that like towards the end of the week on Friday. So we're going to do 2 practices against ourselves, Wednesday and Thursday, and then we'll begin the New England prep onto that as we go. But I thought today, Nikki, enough. I just gave you the starting quarterback guy.
I appreciate that. You're
take him with both hands right now. Jeez. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, we'll talk through all the team next week, and I'll have a better answer for you guys on Friday.
So we don't know yet if he's going to practice or if he's going to play. But do you want him to play this weekend? And should he play this weekend, knowing it's the final preseason game?
Well, Ted, I'll always say this, and as long as we're in this preseason mode, if the ones are out there, he needs to be out there. And as far as let's just go back a quick second. As far as everybody saying they didn't see anything, it's the preseason, and you're not supposed to see everything. So if and when the time comes against the Bucs and he airs it out, that's the reason why you don't want to let everybody know what our play calling will be. You don't want everybody to know our formations. You don't want everybody to know these types of things. You want it to be a surprise. And getting back to what you said, as I said before, if the ones are out there, I believe he needs to be out there, even if it's for a drive, even if just to be in front of the home crowd, to get those home crowd jitters out of your body. Just get out there and play football. That's what we pay you to do.
Yeah, for me, Jayden was 2 for 3 in the first week, right? And then he was 10 for 12. So we haven't seen a ton from him, but I'm right there with you. If the ones are there, he should be out there. And I'm not exactly happy with what I've seen from the ones from the offensive lineman perspective. Tony Wiley, Tony Wiley. What am I doing? Andrew Wiley. I miss Tony, man. I miss being able to text Tony and reach out to him and, ask him for a favor. I ain't gonna lie. But Andrew Wiley had 2 horrible penalties that stalled a drive, right? He had a holding and he had a false start.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that he's rusty and he's supposed to be our starting tackle. Coleman is still hurt, but, Big Luke was out there. But I'm bummed for the fans that are going to go to that game hoping they're going to get a chance to see Jayden because usually your last preseason game, historically, you don't see anybody.
Right.
But that was when we had 4 games. Now we've only got 3. What more could he actually show us that we need to see? I can't think of anything. The only thing I can think of that some people want to see from Jayden is, maybe him sliding. I mean, a lot was made up of, Jayden scrambling for 13 yards. And I went back, like I said earlier, it's like he didn't really have a chance to slide on that scramble. He got caught from behind. But then you got people,
Exactly.
once again, comparing him to Robert. He is not Robert. He is a pocket passer that has legs and can actually use them. Robert was a track star that occasionally could throw the ball down the field when guys were open, right? I mean, seriously, other than him sliding, I don't think there's anything else Jayden could potentially show us that we'd care about. And that's some of my just also annoyance and frustration with people right now saying, oh, it's just a matter of time. He's not protecting himself. He's going to get nailed. His frame is this, his frame is that. Sam Fortier had a great article for the Washington Post. For those of you that have not checked it out, do yourself a favor and do it. He went back and looked at Jayden through college and the hits he's taken and this and that. And I think it's just a huge misnomer that he just is reckless when he runs the ball. It's not the case. But what did you think when you saw him run? I mean, you're there firsthand, right? You're there front row. Like I'd actually think that you were replaced with a scrawl if you sat anywhere but front row. Maybe that was like a rally imposter. But what did you think when you saw him running for that 13 yards?
Kids quicker than what the eye dictates. And I think that one of the other biggest things that they're upset about, if you will, is in that situation, they don't want him to try to get 2 more yards when he could have basically gone out of bounds untouched or very little contact. That's their biggest thing. Stop trying to get the 2 yards, and especially in a preseason game. And yes, he was caught from behind, so in his mind, he thought he had more room to make it. But in everybody else's eyes, who had the birdshot view, we saw that he could have got out of bounds. And that's what the biggest thing is. But you have to continue to tell people that, listen, this isn't the Redskins. This isn't the Washington football team. This is the 2024 Commanders. New owners, new players, rebrand head to toe. Get that out of your mind. But the thing is, we've been doggone dealt a bad card deck, if you will, for all these years. We can't help but to go back. And it's going to take a while to release it, just like saying Redskins. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just ingrained in us right now. And I'd say maybe 6 games in, we'll get it out of our system. But up until then, we're going to continue to say, hey, you should do this. It's like us still calling X Twitter. You know what I mean? People still, no matter what, they still call it Twitter. So it's just ingrained in their mind.
It is. And this is actually what Jayden had to say about getting out of bounds or sliding.
How do you balance that going forward? Knowing when to get out of bounds or get down or just play your game?
I mean, still learning. God blessed me with a gift. So I don't want to take that away. I know that they don't want it to be taken away, but it's fine, like saying healthy, longevity, and stuff like that.
I mean, if you guys haven't seen the clip and what we're talking about, just go back and look at it. People are acting like he took a hit like Robert took from Haloti Ngata that knocked him out for, a little bit. It wasn't that at all. And he is a football player. He played in arguably the toughest division in college. And he survived, right? And I understand that the NFL is not college and these players are bigger and the game is faster. But let's give the kid the benefit of the doubt. If we try and take away one of his greatest assets, he wouldn't be the second pick in the freaking draft. So he's going to learn, and he's going to have vets that are going to tell him as well on that team, you got to protect yourself because without you, the actual winning percentage of this team is going to go drastically downhill. And like I said earlier, I want to see Marcus Mariota touch that field as many times as his jersey number, which is 0. And I think Jayden gets it, and he's going to understand that. And people are just making a big deal out of nothing, at least so far, out of nothing.
I think that the reason that they're doing it is because it's preseason. And I think that if the game is on the line, hypothetically, against the Bucks, and he does it, you won't hear that. But because it's preseason, they're saying, don't do that just yet. But in his defense, he's saying, well, I've always done this, and this is technically nothing new to me. It's new to you guys because it's preseason, air quotes. But for me, I've been doing this. Let me be me. And everybody's like, but Jayden, it's preseason, and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it just, people need to get over the RG3 PTSD, right? Just stop comparing him. We had one good year with Roberts. I don't understand why people continually bring him up. We've actually been to the playoffs twice since Roberts been gone. And, okay, one of them we luck boxed our way in because the Eagles felt like tanking. But they act like he was the best thing forever. We barely snuck into the playoffs with him. Yes, there were some exciting games. I understand that for some of this fan base, that's the only winning that they have ever seen. But just do this team a favor. Stop comparing these guys to the teams of the past, and specifically Jayden to Robert, because he is a different player. It's a just completely different thing. And yes, you're going to see some similarities with him running that read option and running that pistol and keeping it. That's just the NFL today. But stop comparing Robert's inabilities to our not knowing what Jayden's full abilities are yet, because we haven't actually seen them in a real game. We've only seen them in preseason and maybe in practice where he can't get hit.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it boils down to, bro. I can't say it any better than what you just said. And he is going to have his opportunity in basically 3 weeks. And I can't wait. I can't wait to be amongst the roar of the crowd. He's going to be tight, probably like he was his first game when he threw that ball over Eckler's head that first series. But I think that what's going to happen is he's going to warm up, he's going to calm down, and all I can tell people is buckle up and get ready for the ride.
It's going to be a hell of a ride. If this preseason has shown us anything, and there's 52 other guys that are on this team that are going to also have to make a difference. But if preseason shown us anything, they have thrown everything they possibly can at Jayden. Dan Quinn was on with the Sports Junkies on 106.7 this Monday. And Eric Bickel asked him, if week 1, and I'm paraphrasing, but if week 1 was tomorrow, can Jayden operate the full playbook? And DQ didn't hesitate and said, yes, he can. He knows this entire playbook. He's been putting in the work. He is the first person there in the morning at 5 something in the morning, right? He has earned his veterans' trust because he has shown to everybody that he is taking this serious. And I don't want to bring up Dwayne Haskins, God rest his soul, but it's just the stuff that we heard that Dwayne was not doing, the stuff that Robert was not doing. Robert was a gym rat. He wasn't a film rat. Jayden is studying this playbook and understanding it inside and out. And he knows what he needs to do and where he has to go. He's not leaving receivers and backs in vulnerable positions when he throws the ball. He's putting it in places where only they can get it. We haven't been able to really say that about a quarterback for this team for quite some time now. And it's going to be interesting to see how that translates when a defense really is going to game plan for his strengths, to then see how he reacts and game plan for his weaknesses. But right now, he has shown me everything, assuming, and God willing, knock on wood, he can stay healthy, that he is what we need because, we've also said these things about Sam Howell to a degree, right? Sam's QB1, oh, it looks like he's there. But Sam was taking sacks. He was taking hits he didn't need to take. Jayden's not doing that. He's getting rid of the ball. He understands his protection. And part of that's because Eric Bieniemy didn't protect Sam. But on top of that, Sam didn't protect himself. Jayden had a blitz coming from his right side, and he just knew it and saw it. He saw it late, but he chucked that ball up to Terry. I feel like if that was Howell, he would have held it, tried to spin out, and then gotten sacked. And Jayden's not doing that. And that's why I would say he's a first-round pick versus a fifth-round pick right there.
Not only that, the kid can get the ball out of his hand so much faster, like you said. I was impressed seeing it live versus on television. And as I said before, I really want everyone just to calm down. Just calm down. And once you see it live, full speed, you'll be impressed by the young man. And let's not forget, we have one of the best offensive coordinators in the game out there right now, helping him, teaching him, asking him, hey, what did you see? Okay, well, what would you do differently? He's able to give that feedback, and he's able to change some things as he sees it on the line. Let the kid cook. We've got the ingredients. They're all mixed up in the bowl. Cook them now. Put them on the pan and cook them. That's where we are.
Yeah. I mean, from a QBR or quarterback rating perspective, he had 109.7 in week 1 in the preseason, and he had a 93.8 in week 2, right? 0 sacks and 0 sacks. So I can't stress this enough. Let's be patiently optimistic with what he can show us and stop comparing him to what we've seen in the past, because this is a competent coaching staff. This is a new regime here. And yes, we're 0-2 in the preseason, but correct me if I think we were undefeated last preseason. And where the hell did that get us?
Nowhere.
Right? Yeah. You got people upset like, oh, well, we lost against the Jets and we lost against the Dolphins. Who cares? These games don't count. In literally, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we're all 0-0, the entire NFL. None of this matters. All that matters is these guys are getting meaningful reps. And from everything I read and saw and heard, they had one of their best practices against the Miami Dolphins, who are a favorite to make it to the postseason and kick some ass. And they held their own against a Dolphin team that did not hold back, that was blitzing, and that doesn't vanilla and sugarcoat anything. So I'm proud of those guys, man.
That's something that I would have loved to have seen myself. And it seemed like their practice was open to fans, which I really hate because you know me, man, I would have loved to have been down there to see that practice. But I agree with you. And it's just now T-minus and counting. Get past this Sunday, which 8 o'clock game, that still just baffles me because like you,
so late.
I got to get up at 2:25 in the morning, dude. So it's going to be a 5-hour energy drink for me. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, maybe a don't sleep or something, but it's
that too.
It is so early so late to have that game. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to go to the game that late. I can't get anyone to go with me. We don't cook for preseason. So any of you guys are trying to stop by, you can bring me a cigar and a beer, but I'm not cooking for preseason. I'm not bringing it out because I don't know who's going to show up. I'm not buying all this food and have no one actually post. So it's going to be interesting. I'll probably walk around the stadium, check things out, and see the differences that they've made at FedEx. Or there you go, calling things what they're not anymore.
Put down your 5,000 so you can visit the touchdown club.
Yeah, 0 chance that's going to happen. I think it's 15,000. No, I'm going to miss out on that. But before we get to this weekend, since you were there in person, give me one player that stood out to you from their performance that you were not expecting, and in a positive way, and something that you're still kind of concerned about heading into this last preseason game?
Well, it was good to see Jeremy Reeves get out there and lay some wood. That after his injury, that was unexpected in a preseason game, and that lets me know that he didn't care about that. You know, he put his shoulder into that guy, and I mean, put a hurting on him. What I did not like was Miami's quick game that they had, and they torched our secondary with those quick passes. And if it looked fast on TV, it's even faster in person. And I'm saying, I don't know how you cover these guys. And we did not do a good job of it. That's what scares me. What'd you see?
Yeah, and that was with Miami's. I mean, they didn't even have the top receivers out there, right? Tyreek wasn't out there,
Right.
right? You know, it's just BSJ getting burned on that 4th and 2 for that touchdown because he didn't jam the guy at the line. You know, that definitely concerned me, right? And that was not against one of their number one receivers. So the secondary, it's still a concern for me, a big concern for me. Unless we can get some pass rush, then that secondary is potentially going to get exposed. Because right now, I'm thinking Sandra still is our best DB at the moment. To me, he's the one that has stepped up and shown the most, and he's the one I'm the most excited to actually see back there. But BSJ is supposed to be that vet, right? We don't have Kendall anymore. He's gone. So what's going to happen if he can't actually produce? So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I was happy to see John Bates out there catching balls, making blocks downfield, just because I feel that he gets a bad rap from some in the fan base because he doesn't put up fantasy football numbers. And once again, to me, fantasy football is how a lot of people judge and grade teams and players when they play. But John Bates was making downfield blocks. He had a 68.1 overall grade in PFF. I mean, that's not bad for that guy. And assuming we're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets, he's going to be out there with Zach Ertz, and Bates can be a contributor and help us out.
Oh, definitely.
Sure.
Did you happen to see what Jamin Davis's grade was?
So Jamin's overall grade, and he did have that strip sack, right? So that was good to see. Jamin got a 73. He got a 53 in run defense, but he got a 78.7 in pass rush. So you can only help who you're going up against. And he wasn't at defensive end going up against the ones. They had some other guys down there lined up doing that for the most part. But he took advantage of his opportunities. And to me, he did better this week than he did last week. And the numbers are showing it from PFF than he did against Jets. So hoping it carries over. And DQ mentioned how he's been putting in a lot of extra work with Ryan Kerrigan. And we all know that Ryan's a beast when it comes to rushing the quarterback. So hearing that, it looks like it's actually paying off. And I haven't I'm feeling that Jamin is going to play against the Pats this weekend because he's still trying to solidify, and get some reps down with his hand in the dirt.
Yeah. And the thing is, what that tells you is like anything else in life, the more you do, the better you get. And it's showing because he looked improved to me as well. And I really look forward to seeing how they move him around and get him really truly adjusted into that position. He's got the body for it. It's just now a matter of putting the mind to it and having him succeed, letting the coaches allow him to succeed and him having the will to succeed.
Yeah, there was people saying, well, is he going to make the squad? What's going to happen? They didn't exercise his 50-year option. Is he going to make the final 53? He's making the final 53.
Yeah.
I mean, with a play like that and showing different flashes and the flashes he showed in the past, there's no way you let someone like that walk and not make this team because guess what? He'll get picked up by somebody in a heartbeat. So you can't risk it. He is going to be on this final 53. Let's just see what he can actually do when, things are real. But I don't know about you. I am sick and tired of this horrible situation we're stuck in on special teams. I mean, this is actually what DQ had to say about our kicking situation right now with the Junkies this morning or the other morning.
How concerned are you with the kicking right now?
It's certainly not where we want it, so that's fair to say.
Yeah.
It's such an important part, in our league. You guys know this. These games come down to the end, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, last year maybe it was close to like 70% were within one score. And so knowing how important that is such a big deal. So got another week of practice this week, another one next week before we get into the final roster. So we've got work to do to improve on that spot, and that's what we'll dig in on to make sure that we're really, going for it and nailing it in every way. But still got work to do at that spot and some other ones as well.
I'm nervous, man.
Yeah. It looked bad on TV. It was worse in person. Just the feeling of it all over again from those. Now you want to talk about ash burning? That's the ash burn syndrome right there, because our kickers have not been good, and this right here brought back, to me, worse memories than RG3. It really did, and to hear the fans that were there talk to me about our kicker, it was not good, man. And I didn't appreciate it at all. So we know that once the teams can cut down to their 53-man roster, and we can get somebody else in here, I'm sure he's gone. And everybody says, oh, but he makes them in practice. I don't give a good god dang it if he makes them in practice. It matters in the game, under the lights, when the pressure's on, and it's not there right now.
Yeah, DQ mentioned, I think he was 6 for 6 on Thursday in practice, and a couple of those were 50-yarders. Well, when the lights are on and there's fans in the stands, he got a 44.9 grade against the Jets. He was 0 for 1 against the Jets, and it was a 30 to 39 yarder. Don't know the exact yards, but that was the distance. He was 2 for 4 against the Dolphins, right? And he got a 38.3 grade. I mean, he was 1 for 3 in 40 to 49, and he made a 30 to 39 yarder. Right? It's just, we're going to be put in situations, if they don't find a kicker, where we're going to have to go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2 from the 35 versus making a 42-yard kick.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, whatever it may be, it's just some unnatural situations are going to happen for this team on offense. And the NFL, I remember one year where we won a ton of close games because of our kicker.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just really what it comes down to in the NFL. I mean, the league has a ton of parity. We are going to lose a ton of games because of this kicker. And yes, the team got dealt a bad hand because, what was the guy's name? McManus? Or whatever it was before.
With the domestic violence. Yeah.
Yeah. The allegations. I think the harassment on the airplane and everything else from the past that went through, and, all that's still going on. I mean, they put their eggs in that basket and it didn't work out. And it's hard to find a good quality kicker lying around. And I'm hoping that someone decent gets cut, but one man's trash is another man's treasure, I guess is how the saying goes.
That's what they say.
I don't know if that's going to be the case with a field goal kicker. Granted, we have cut some kickers that are kicking ass in the league for other teams right now.
Hopkins, I mean, who did
Rivera cut? Was that Hopkins that Rivera cut?
Hopkins, yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually doing really well, right? I mean, it's just another thing that Ron Rivera screwed us over, and he brought in Chris Blewett and a bunch of other bums that now we're stuck in the situation, and we're paying for the sins of Rivera and that whole regime. And I'm nervous, man. I am really nervous that we have a chance of actually doing something decent this year and surprising some people, but this special teams aspect is going to just kick us right in the ass.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. If you want to plant your flag in something, don't plant your flag on Jayden Daniels not sliding. You need to plant your flag on getting a new kicker. That's what you need to be worried about. Don't worry about Jayden. Jayden's been doing this for a minute, but do something that is in your control, and that is we need a new kicker. That's what we need. That's what's going to be the important factor. And like you said, I have a feeling that we're going to be able to, our offense is going to be able to keep us into some close games, but you need that special team aspect to win the game for you sometimes. And we're going to be in a lot of close games. And I would hate, I think about the Giants game. I think about Cincinnati. I mean, I think in England, I think about all these times that we've been there, and that could have made or broken or break the game, and we came out on the bottom versus being out on the top for a win.
Even worse, we tied in London and had to sit there and just eat it. You know, just imagine how much fun we would have had if we actually won that damn game in London instead of tying it, right?
Yeah.
And it's just what it could have been out there. And you know, people say, "Hey, you overreacting. They'll find someone else." It's tough because then that kicker's coming in. They've got to get their timing down with the snap and the hold, and they haven't been here all camp, right? Everyone is different. The way I remember hearing, I want to say it was, you remember Cobra Kai Forbath we had here?
Yeah.
I remember hearing him talk about watching the revolutions and basically the spin of the snap from the long snapper and having it come down to the holder at that point and knowing it was going to be a good kick based upon seeing that in that entire motion. I mean, it's a well-oiled machine. They are specialists. And is this specialist that hopefully we're going to find to bring in here going to have enough time to build that rapport with the other guys that are part of that process? I don't know, but I think I chose us to have 6 or 7 wins. I got to go back and look. Seeing what I've seen so far from Jayden and everything I'm hearing about how he has looked at camp, I'm ready to bump that total up. And I don't want us to give our new numbers until this last preseason game is done and we get that final 53 so we can see if they made any additions. But right now, seeing what this offense has done and what Kingsbury has shown and not shown, I'm ready to bump my number up, maybe closer to what yours is.
Well, I have to say that I'm wavering on my number right now. And I say that because the defense, now granted, we didn't have our ones in. We didn't have all of our ones. We had some ones. But the defense has got to show me more. And I don't want to put the world on this young kid's shoulders to win games for us. I want him to keep us in games, but it's a lot of pressure. And I need more from the defense. And if I don't see more from the defense, I'm shaking, Ted. I am.
I hear you. And I guess I'm not, and something's wrong because you're always glass half empty or glass half full, and I'm glass half empty, right? But I'm not freaking out about the defense yet because Bobby Wagner's not out there, right? John Allen's not out there, right? We don't have Duran out there. Our true defense is not out there. And I feel that if everybody on that first team defense can stay healthy, then some of the things that we have seen us get exposed against in preseason won't really happen. And maybe that's just me being overly optimistic. Yes, Bobby Wagner is up there in age and he's old, but the guy's a Hall of Famer. And he has led the NFL in tackles how many seasons in a row, right? John and Duran, they've been moving them all around different spots in practice. They're not just lining up at D tackle. They're making those guys wreak havoc. I have no doubt that we'll actually get a chance to see that in week 1 against Tampa. I still don't know if we're going to win that game because it's a tough matchup against Tampa and Mike Evans and the secondary. But I do feel that this defense can keep things close for us. And if the offense can move the chains and keep our defense fresh, I picked us to win 7. You picked us to win 10. I'm thinking I might be pleasantly surprised and go above that 7 number if those things can happen. And hope's not a strategy. I get it, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far and what I'm reading about so far.
I like what I'm seeing as well. I do, Ted, but I just need to see more from the defense. And yes, the ones have not played, but I still feel as though it's scary. It really is. One thing that's not scary is, did you hear about the $500,000 consultant fee that DC is paying to look at how to reshape the old RFK site?
Yeah, Mayor Bowser reached out. They're trying to see what they can do. I mean, there's a tweet here. It's from the Washington Business Journal. They began laying the foundation for how the district could build and finance a new stadium for the Washington Commanders. And man, I miss my calling. I wish I could have gotten the consultant game, right? They are making hand over fist, these damn consultants. It's just the consultant that recommended that wire mannequin for Sean Taylor's thing. I mean, it's just ripping people off. But the mayor's office for planning and economic development authorized a $565,000 deal with SMG Holdings, an affiliate of entertainment facilities management firm ASM Global, right? And I think it's going to happen at PG. I think it's going to be at FedEx Field. I think this is going to take too long. I hope I'm wrong, but it's another step in the right direction to getting us RFK 2.0.
It's going to be interesting. And I've always said, I as far as the nostalgia aspect of things, yes, it should be in the district. However, when it comes down to brass tacks, who's going to be able to give you more of an incentive of what you need? And I think this is going to be back at FedEx, or I'm sorry, Commanders Field .2.
And to me, it's not even the incentive. Right? We all know that DC can't offer a ton of money. It's just they don't have it in their budget. Maryland and Virginia can offer more money. To me, it's about the owners being patient to either, because DC still has to get approval from the Senate. Then we still got to go through the president. Then we still got to go through the damn city council, right? That is a lot of hops to jump, right? In Maryland, they're already saying, bring it here. There are no hoops you got to jump through. We are ready. Let's just start breaking ground and building this damn thing. And it's not that simple as I'm making it seem, but they definitely have a lot less red tape to cut through. And will ownership be willing to be patient enough for DC to get its act in a row? And that's assuming it can get its actual act in a row, right? And act in line with the city council and everything else. And that is a big assumption.
Huge. Huge, man. And who knows what the future holds. That's all we know. And we're gonna, so realistically, before we go, you want it in DC or you want it in Maryland? Which one do you want?
I want it in PG. I think that they can actually build a bigger facility out there, move the team facility out there, have everything in one spot, and actually have tailgating and other stuff out there. They're making that one PG like they are in one Loudoun. You can't do all that in DC. There's just not enough room.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. As I said, on the nostalgia side, yes, I wouldn't mind it. But when it comes down to everything that's involved around it, I don't think you have enough time. Well, folks, I hear the music playing again in the background. Lets us know that we are bringing this episode to a close. We thank you for riding with us. And for everybody that is going to Tampa, look forward to seeing you at the fan rally. We're going to have a great time. And who knows, maybe a special guest may come through. Remember, guys, you rep it hard or you don't rep it at all. Rally Captain, Tailgate Ted, deuces.